I took the night security job because I needed money quickly. The pay was unusually high for how little experience they required, but at the time I didn't question it. The job description was simple. Watch the cameras, walk the halls once an hour, and make sure nothing broke or caught fire overnight. The mall closed at 9 every night. By 10, the parking lot was completely empty, and the automatic doors locked themselves with a hollow mechanical click that echoed through the building. After that, the mall felt like a different place. The bright daytime noise vanished, replaced by a heavy silence that pressed in from every direction. During the first 2 nights, nothing happened. I sat in the security office watching grainy camera feeds, listening to the hum of fluorescent lights, and counting the minutes until sunrise. The building creaked occasionally, but I told myself that was normal. Big buildings make noise when they cool down. On the 3rd night, I noticed the escalator. I didn't hear it at first. The sound blended into the background until I realized it was rhythmic, mechanical, moving. When I looked up at the monitors, the escalator in the east wing was running, slowly carrying invisible passengers upward. The mall was locked. There were no cleaners scheduled, no maintenance. I checked the time on the monitor. 20:41 a.m. I called maintenance over the radio. No response. I rewound the footage to see when the escalator turned on. It hadn't. As far back as the recording went, it was already moving like it had never stopped. The next night, I paid more attention. I stopped using my phone and listened to the sounds around me. The mall breathed after midnight, air vents hissed, pipes knocked, distant echoes bounced through empty hallways. Around 2:30, something new joined the noise. Footsteps. They were slow and uneven, dragging slightly, like someone who didn't want to lift their feet. They came from the 2nd floor, directly above the food court. I watched the cameras closely, switching from feed to feed, but nothing moved. The escalator continued its endless climb. I pulled up the mall directory and followed the sound as it traveled from one store to the next. Every location it passed was vacant. Stores that had shut down years ago, their windows covered with dust and old sale posters. At 3 a.m. I started my patrol. My flashlight cut through the darkness as I walked past locked storefronts and silent displays. The mannequins bothered me the most. Even in daylight they were unsettling, but under the dim emergency lights, they looked almost alive. Their plastic eyes reflected my flashlight beam, following me as I passed. Nothing seemed out of place, and I finished the patrol without incident. I told myself the sounds were just my imagination, amplified by isolation and boredom. On the 5th night, I realized something was wrong. I was walking past a clothing store near the center of the mall when I froze. The mannequins were facing the entrance. I was certain they hadn't been before. I stood there for a long moment, trying to convince myself I was mistaken. When I checked the camera logs later, I noticed something strange. Between 20:40 and 30:00 a.m., every camera feed had glitched at the same time, filling the screens with static. The next morning, I called the mall manager. I told him about the escalator, the footsteps, the cameras, and the mannequins. There was a long pause on the line before he spoke. No one's worked nights there since the incident, he said quietly. I asked him what incident he was talking about, but he told me not to worry and ended the call. That night, I didn't do my patrol. I stayed in the security office, watching the monitors. At exactly 20:41 a.m., every screen flickered. When they came back on, all of them showed the escalator. It wasn't stopping at the second floor anymore. It kept going, disappearing into darkness beyond the ceiling. That's when I realized something terrifying. The mall wasn't empty. It was unfinished, like it had more levels than anyone had met it. At the top of the escalator, a figure stood waiting. It was tall and unnaturally thin, its limbs stretched in ways that didn't look right. Its head was tilted, as if it were listening for something. Slowly, it raised its arm and pointed directly at the camera. At me. The lights in the security office went out. The air behind me shifted and I smelled something stale and damp. I heard breathing, slow, wet, and patient, close enough that I could feel it on my neck. I didn't turn around, I ran. I quit the next morning. They never posted the job again. But sometimes when I drive past the mall late at night, I see the escalator through the darkened windows, still moving, still going up, waiting